check with Tom because he stole my story. Rosemary and family, I'm honored to be here. I hate these circumstances, but I am indeed honored. My name is Drew Gagner. I have had the great pleasure and privilege of working with Bill, alongside Bill in action, and when I spent many years serving the ministry of the Sisters of Charity of the Incarnate Word at St. Bernardine Medical Center. A few weeks ago, I got off the airplane coming back from the East Coast, and I care deeply about San Bernardino. I have a little app that tells me what's happening in San Bernardino. As soon as I turned my telephone on, I learned about a very terrible thing that happened earlier that morning. And the first thing I thought about was that Bill was only 81 years old. And the reason I say that is because Bill was so young at heart. And I have to say, and I want to be celebratory, but I know he was taken from his family and all of us while still seemingly in his prime, mentally and physically. Every day for years, or 5 days a week, as dawn was just breaking, and most of us were peeping out from under our bed covers, Bill was already up, dressed, and out pedaling his bicycle along the streets with a few close friends, including my dear Dr. Helwig, where they would conclude by sharing a cup of coffee and solving the world's problems at the Arrowhead Country Club. All this before 7:30 a.m., and busy days always followed. As an enthusiastic fan of his hometown, this hometown, San Bernardino, Bill, who I once heard say, and I always remind him of this, he once said, if you can make $1 million in San Bernardino, you can get rich anywhere else. Was an entrepreneurial success, a CPA, and a businessman who spent countless hours ensuring that tens of thousands of other people he never met might enjoy similar opportunities to build successful lives. During my years in San Bernardino, I was one of many privileged people, along with Tom and some others, to work alongside Bill as part of an action, and we also crossed paths when he served as a trustee of my hospital foundation at St. Bernardine. Throughout the years, I was fortunate to call Bill easily my friend, but I have to tell you, I knew I was the junior partner in the relationship. In so many ways, I always felt as if I was sitting at the feet of the master, the man I knew was a student, as well as teacher, planner, as well as doer. He was a dreamer and a pragmatist, a partner and a mentor, always ready to learn and always willing to teach. As Tom indicated, we attended many meetings together here at home as well as in Sacramento and Washington. We got a lot done, but frankly, I always learned more between the meetings than during them. That was largely because of Bill. On a flight to Sacramento, Bill, who was a pilot himself, explained the laws of flight, of lift and drag. I can remember telling me, it's the wings, airspeed, and angle of attack. I don't know what that means, but I was very impressed. Once, as we were flying over Midwestern farmlands on our way to Washington, D.C., Bill shared a detailed explanation as to why it was a lot smarter to build cheese plants in Wisconsin rather than California. And it's about transportation and tax credits. Now, while he was a great teacher, I wasn't always the best student. On that same flight, I remember starting to fade out and glaze over as he was now educating me on the perils of building an auto parts empire. But I came, it's true, every word of it. But I came to at the start, just as we landed at Dulles Airport, and the rubber hits the tarmac, and he was now telling me about G&M becoming the exclusive Herman Miller dealer. By the way, he was proud of all of his children, but I have to tell you, Steve, he gave you all the credit in the world for the growth of your amazing company. Tom talked about that trip, that particular story, and I can't do it any better, except that I think that he tucked Tom Brickley and Kenny Coe in that night. But even this classy and classic man of the world had his limits. Bill enjoyed good restaurants, good meals, good liquor, and good cigars. What I'm about to tell you was not one of those times. Rosemary, you may remember this. I remember this so well. One night in Washington, Billy Lemon, I, and a few others packed you and Bill into a couple of cabs with us, and without consultation, which was a mistake, headed off to a much heralded Ethiopian restaurant in the Little Ethiopia section just up from Embassy Row. And we're going to get ourselves a little culture, don't you know? After about 20 minutes of all of us scooping and sopping up our exotic fare with the traditional chunks of spongy bread, and you got to imagine Bill doing this, he finally had enough. He abruptly called for a fork, declaring to the entire table as the restaurant hunted for a single, solitary fork for approximately 10 minutes, and I am telling every word is true. And I'll be deciding where we eat from now on. In all of my subsequent trips, I never again had any say as to where we were eating. Well, I have been gone from San Bernardino for a few years. When I do come to town, I have tried to stop over at the house. I've been fortunate enough to see Bill on occasion. But the frequency of our handshakes and conversations sadly had waned. In fact, the last time I saw Bill, I accidentally bumped into him, Rosemary, and I think it was Patty, at Thai Town Restaurant in Redlands. And I was with my daughters, and I remember that I couldn't stop smiling the whole time, not just because I was happy to see Bill and Rosemary, etc., but I couldn't help notice he was eating his Thai dumplings with a fork. So, Bill, you are and were a special man and a special friend, as attested to the people who are here today, the people that will be visiting with the family tomorrow. He really was a friend and a mentor. He really took young men and women, I assume, but young people in Inland Action and other organizations under his wing. And he cared deeply about what you had to say and what you're trying to accomplish in life. And I will never, ever forget that. And I'm blessed to have called him friend and mentor. And I think as part of Tom's heritage and my own, until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of